Stop thinking that tariffs only hurt China. They also hit American wallets, businesses, and farmers. Here's how. When President Trump started his trade war against China during his first presidential term, what was the first thing most Americans noticed? Prices went up. Electronics, clothes, even groceries. Companies that relied on Chinese parts had to scramble to find alternatives, leading to delays and higher costs. Some businesses even moved production to countries like Vietnam or Mexico to avoid tariffs. But it wasn't just about money. Politically, tensions rose. Both nations hit each other with new tariffs, straining the relationship and scaring global markets. Farmers were hit especially hard. China put tariffs on American soybeans and pork, cutting down on exports and forcing the U.S. President Biden to help them. Overall, the trade war aimed to strengthen the U.S.'s position. But the result? Higher prices, market unrest, and a strained relationship with China which still affects global trade today. In early 2025, President Trump put in place wide-ranging tariffs against both Canada and Mexico. Starting February 1st, almost all goods were hit with a 25% tariff except for oil and energy, which got a lower rate. Goods under the USMCA agreement were exempt, which covered about 85% of trade. At the same time, starting February 4th, a 10% tariff was put on all Chinese goods, which went up to 20% from March 4th. Steel and aluminum were hit with a 25% tariff from March 12th, doubling to 50% from June 4th. Cars and car parts got a 25% tariff from the beginning of April. In addition, from March 24th, a 25% tariff was put on countries that import oil from Venezuela. On April 5th, the so-called Liberation Day tariffs were introduced, a 10% basic tariff on almost all goods, with higher rates for 57 countries from April 9th. These tariffs, however, have been challenged in court and are now under appeal. Lawsuits have created a lot of uncertainty about whether the Liberation Day tariffs can be kept, but they are still in effect while the case is being heard in the courts. After August 2025, the picture is complicated. Canada and Mexico still have exemptions for most goods, but oil and energy are taxed at a lower rate. China faces a 20% tariff on all goods. Steel and aluminum are taxed at 50%, cars and car parts at 25%, and Venezuela-related oil at 25%. The Liberation Day tariffs still apply to many countries, but the future is uncertain. The effects in 2025 have been big. Inflation has gone up, and American households have lost an average of $3,800 a year, especially low-income groups are hit hard. The threat of a recession has grown, with a global growth forecast of only 2.3% and a 60% chance of recession in the US. Markets have been shaky. The VIX index has gone up to 24, and stock prices have fallen. Retail prices have gone up a lot. Clothes are 37% more expensive, computers 17%, plastic 12%, and pencils 7%. Consumer confidence is low, and inflation is expected to be 4.9% annually. All in all, Trump's new tariffs have changed the economic landscape in 2025. There's a lot of uncertainty, and both businesses and consumers are feeling the effects, now and in the future.